from the garden. Thought I'd walk by the grapes here a little bit and show those off. Looking good. Let's see here if we can see how beautiful those are. So I've got lots of kale, lots of collards, and my spinach and lettuces don't really like the hot weather. So what's going on here is I've already replaced a few with some kale here. So I've got 3 more kales that I'm just about to bury, put down in there. So I thought I'd bring you along. So here we are in the garden burying stuff. Let's see if you can see. There, okay. So literally I've already got them pulled out. Just gonna plop them in and then I'll come back and water them here as soon as I'm done watering the back. So I'm just gonna stick 3 little kales right in the ground. Those ought to fill in very nicely. Perfect. And I've got 3 more I need to find a house for, but you can see the romaine, how spread out it is. It gets really hot back here, so without a shade, these red lettuces did pretty good. I'll probably harvest all those at once with these and make a salad. So as they come out, I'm just replanting something in its place. We did come out and I took some lamb's quarters. Oh, this one looks bad now. But I ripped the top off of a bunch of them that I had and juiced them. Put them in my juice. So, grab my shovel. So I think 1, 2, 5 in there, and then I'll put another row in. So I'll save these for just a little bit later until I harvest those. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kale in here, and that's still not enough to keep up with us for sure. So, but I did make. I didn't have enough kale to make this for the party, but I went to a friend's house. So anyway, my girlfriend had a party on the river, and I brought my dish to pass was I brought a noodle salad where I just did macaroni noodles. I cut up some Daiya cheese and put that on the side in case anyone wanted to add it, and I brought a little thing of like bacon bits, soy bacon bits, which are vegan by default, and they could put that on top. But inside my noodle salad I chopped up, I shredded some carrots with my zoodleizer, with my noodle slicer. I cut up a bunch of broccoli. I shredded some kale to put up in it. And onions, of course. Onions, carrots, broccoli, kale, I think is all I put in it. And then I found the, is that your Follow Your Heart goodness? Follow Your Heart ranch. I put a bunch of that just right on it with a little salt and pepper and a little lemon juice, and that worked out really good. So that was one of my dishes to pass. And then my main dish that I brought for like a hoagie roll, I brought hoagie rolls. They had some buns from Costco that were vegan, and I had sauteed a bunch of kale. I think I got 6 or 7 big healthy bunches of kale, filled up my huge stock pot that Eric got for me to cook out of, and I just put in some Better Than Bouillon vegetable broth, a splash of red wine vinegar, a little onion and garlic, onion powder, a little minced garlic, and I just simmered that down till the kale was a little softer, and then I chopped up big chunks of mushrooms and onions and sauteed those separately till they were a little bit brown in the same mixture, vegetable broth, vinegar, salt, pepper, that kind of stuff. And then in the end I just mixed them all together and I put them in a crock pot, and it was fantastic. So, ooh, ladybug, lightning bug. So yeah, I just kept that in a crock pot all day. It stayed nice and warm, and we just piled it on high on hoagie rolls with a little just mayo, Hampton Creek's just mayo, mustard if you like it, and some Frank's Red Hot. So I did just mayo and Frank's Red Hot on most of mine, and I had 2 or 3 of them. They were really good. My sister loves them. She's coming out of the carnivore stage. She's kind of coming to terms that she really likes her chickens as friends and not food, so I really like that. Cheers to you, Lisa. I'll give you a kale, yeah. So, besides that, I got some potatoes planted. I didn't do that many this year yet. I didn't get much dirt. This is the craziest looking bolting lettuce, isn't it? how thick. Let me set these kales down. Look how thick that is. It's crazy. It's got some borers in it right now, but I didn't know that. I've never seen a lettuce bolt like that. Usually like this with a little bit of a flower on it maybe. But yeah, this one has quite the stalk coming up. Oh, here we go. I got some jalapenos. And this looks like it's gonna flower here. So I gotta pick, I probably could eat through all these lettuces in a day or two. This shallow box here was cool for a garden box. It probably would have done a lot better if it would have been a little more shaded. I just put this up to see if I can help it out a little bit. I got that one there. I'm thinking maybe I'll put the tall one here to shade all this, and then see these cucumbers here are doing really good. I got all these to plant here still. It's kind of hot, but Eric sliced this piece out of the deck to put this post in for the shade sail, and I'm like, well, if you don't fill it in, I'm gonna just put dirt in it. He's like, I dare ya. So there we go. I'm gonna be growing cucumbers up here. Two little beets coming up here. They don't look the healthiest. They're in this little tiny pot, so. But that's what the garden's looking like. This is dry and hot, so it's perfect for my hens and chicks. They're doing fantastic in here, even though it's, well, even right now it's over 100. It's way hot in here in the greenhouse. I haven't even been in here. I just leave the doors open. It makes a nice changing room for when you go in the pool. When you get out of the pool, I just go in there and change. So I don't have to drip dry in the house. So if this stays too hot like this, it's not really worth heating. If I can buy all my vegetables I want for $100, it's not worth filling that tank twice a month to have $100 in vegetables to go in my garden. So it might turn into the hot tub room. The spinach from here bolted, so I pulled that out, and I just planted some delicata winter squash. Let me see, where's the camera? See if that comes up. Delicata winter squash. These are fantastic. They're like acorn squash and butternut squash, only a little bit more flavorful, a little sweeter maybe. They're really good. So I put 2 kales in there. I just kind of left this. If this seeds, here we go, where are we? Oh, we have seeds. So perfect. I'll just let this cilantro reseed back into there if it lives fine. I got Monarch Heaven. I can't wait to start seeing some. I saw one butterfly. Stevia, the kale and the stevia, I think they're too hot out here in the open. I need to stick them back there in the shade. These smell so good. If we only had smell-o-vision. And these, I did see a hummingbird. This is bee balm. Hummingbirds like that. And down here, I think I have a delicata squash. And over here is Japanese cucumber. So I've got a bunch of flowers down there, and it's just now starting to creep up the edges there. So hummingbird food needs to be checked. Yeah, it's getting too hot on this edge over here, so these are kind of bolting and hot. What I was gonna say, mushroom update. So I did the oyster mushrooms in the basement, and a couple of times I had mushrooms that looked like they were starting to come out the sides, little oyster mushrooms coming out, but then they stayed really tiny and looked kind of fugly. If I can insert a picture, I'll insert a picture somewhere here. I've never done that before, so I'll see if I can insert the picture of the oyster mushrooms, how funky they looked and how small. And just when I started getting hope for them and they started looking a little meaty, they shriveled and died. So I don't know if I didn't like boil the medium long enough, but I've seen people do mushrooms in places where they didn't boil the medium and they turned out fine. So I wonder if I just have another spore in there that was messing with them. Somebody said they weren't wet enough, so I added more water, and that didn't seem to help either. So, and I did it on straw and wood pellet stove, hardwood pellets. Somebody else I saw on YouTube showed that they were doing them very successfully in there. So I thought I would try it too, and it didn't work. So what I did was I ended up bringing out my mushrooms. I'm like, well, if they do good in the wild, then they're gonna do good in like a shady spot. Like back here, it's always shady. So I threw them back here for a day or two. Okay, I forgot about them back here for a week or two. And when I went to open them last week, because I was gonna put them in the ground in the back, out between the thuas, the tall ones there, we put straw down. I was going to put them down there and see if they'd naturally come up, because mushrooms grow really good right there, so why not? So anyway, I went to go check out my mushrooms, and when I opened the thing, they were all green inside, and I was told, I wasn't personally told, YouTube told me and showed me that you don't want any other thing in with your mycelium. You don't want it to be turning colors, because you're not guaranteed that it's the right mushroom that you're eating if it comes out or something. So I don't know if they cross-pollinate or contaminate or something. So that's what happened there. I just threw all the buckets of mushrooms away. They failed miserably, even though I tried to keep them going. I really thought that they were going to come out. They started looking really good. So, and that was just from mycelium that I got from someone that did one of those bags on the counter. And from what I read, it's the same mycelium. It should have kept going. So I just didn't get it out there in time, I think. As for my shiitake log and my oyster mushroom log, well, I think my oyster mushroom log's in too much sun still, and there it sets. And when the sun gets hot, I don't know if they used the wrong cheese or something where I did this at, but it gets hot, and then it melts the wax, and then it rains and gets cold, so then the wax chips off. So now my spore rods, I guess you would call them. My spore rods are all exposed, which I don't think it's the end of the world or anything, because it's mostly oyster mushroom mycelium. But when it dries out, it's going to start cracking this up. So I'm going to have to put that in the back where it's more wet. And then I've got one more. That's going to be pearl oyster mushrooms, pearl white. And then this is my little shiitake log here. And there's probably not going to be anything coming up right away. I need to keep this a little wetter too, so it's kind of, I need to maybe put it on the other side. It needs to be hidden more in like a shady crevice.
Replace standard fluorescent tubes
Trying to
with
take
higher
these
efficiency
really
lamps,
stuck bulbs
and install
out of
sensors and lighting controls to
freshly
save energy in spaces that are used less often.
transfer case.
You can also
So I
install
can put
Energy
all
Star
my
certified water heaters and dip.
harness hangers back on it.
Oh, you only have to take two out?
Yeah, but I don't know what they used to put it together, because ain't exactly coming out.
So where did yours wear a hole in it? Where would the hole
Back
be?
here, it was actually on the case. It would have been the case right back here, because this is the top.
Looks like it's up. They printed it anyway that way.
Yeah, well, there's the case wore a hole in it, I believe, right about here.
In where
these squares
there's like a
are.
circle thing.
Pump breaks loose.
Right in there, and it jiggles back and forth and wears a hole.
Yep.
Just like everybody else's.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate. So that's this weekend for Eric. This weekend in Eric edition. Poor Tahoe. No drivetrain. Alrighty. Have fun with that. Too late. You had all the fun already? Well, you can relax in your hammock a little later. I'll meet you back here in the hammock. Alright, there's my quick update, y'all. Plant power, plant peace, eat plants. Yeah, Bonnie, is it hot? You going inside, puppy? Yeah. Have a great day.